Okay, Erica, you are live on Facebook. You are
Yes,
live. There's already people watching you.
just share it.
There's people already watching you. For those that were asking, this is how to cultivate good business habits. And just to let you know how things people are mentally connected. This presentation is based on a book, Seven, Habits, business habits that everybody should have that is in business. And Erica's like, I have the books, I got the cliff notes, I got the postcards. Uh, yeah, you name it, I have it. I mean, so this is one of those business books because we were asked yesterday, what are good business books that you could. Good morning, Ro. Thank you for joining in. This is one of those books everybody asks. What should I be reading? What should I be doing while we're going through this? Stay-at-home orders are still in place, and educating yourself it's one of those huge things that you should be doing. And this is a very short book, right, Eric? It's not that big.
No, it's not that big. And I don't even remember where I actually found flashcards. I don't know if it was Barnes and Noble or somewhere that you have the flashcards and you can read them daily, which is amazing. Now that we're talking about this, I'm gonna go find them and I'm gonna like take them out and start reading them because I was given that book when I started in the title business, and it helped me tremendously how to change my mindset.
Yeah. So what I did, guys, is we have a presentation that we're gonna go through. I have some notes that I'm gonna tell you how, as a real estate agent, you can apply the 7 habits. And then Erica, who's already applying the 7 habits, they're asking you what's the name of the book, Erica?
Yes, it's the 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey. You can get it in audio, which is great. It's a really, really amazing, good read.
It's a short read. It's a good
Yes.
audio book. You can get it on Audible or whatever else. It's a very short book. It sort of breaks down this. So what they did is they did a study of every next level professional at every level of industry, and they wanted to know what were the things that all these people had in common. What were the traits that everybody had in common? Once you because you could education. It's not a component because I mean, so they wanted to see what is it that they did daily. And when they analyzed all this data, they're like, oh my God, what the trade they found was these 7 common things that all these highly effective people were doing. So, I mean, the book began as a research, and then the research became a book. So we'll be going live in about 10 seconds. I want to thank everybody that has already watching us in Facebook Live. Everybody's already watching us live on the webinar. So good morning. Thank you everybody for tuning in one more time. I know you've seen a lot of me this week, but yesterday we had a Spanish presentation with Nestor Ochoa that a lot of people had asked for on more than anything. If you want to talk about this, May is Mental Health Month, and we all need to make sure that we have our head in order so we can do everything else that we need to do. And this one today was planned already a month ago, and it's a class on it's a small presentation because the book itself is a small book on 7 habits that every person, I mean every student, it doesn't matter what you do. These are 7 key things that you can do to be more productive, get more things accomplished. And Erica, of course, already knows the book back and forth, lives the book. So it turns out that whenever I think of something, she's already one step ahead of me. So
That's not true.
for those watching, my name is Ernesto Vega, broker of Canvas Real Estate. Thank you for tuning in. My lovely co-host is.
Yes, my name is Erika Enid, and I am a licensed title agent with Stewart Title.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Erica is known in the industry as the title girl because she's been in this industry since she was 15, and she was
10.
10. But she's very versed in marketing. I mean, everybody talks to Erica about title. I don't. I talk to her about marketing because her entire career in her entire business lifespan of her career has been on marketing herself to build relationships. And she looks at it as a relationship building business, not as a let me get a deal out of you business. She's a let me build a relationship and build a referral from everybody that I come across. So, that's one of the things I like about her, that she's focused, and that's the reason why she's been in this field as long as she has, because she's a relationship building individual. And if you don't know her, Erika, where can they reach you? If they don't know?
Yes, well, you can reach me, like Ernesto said, marketing. Thank God I've been doing marketing for the past 6 years, and people know who I am, because now this time I think I'm really trending. So Instagram is the title girl. You can see it. I finally figured out how to change my name. So in Instagram is the title girl. In Facebook, Erika Enid, but you could also have my business page, which is the title girl. And you can find me, again, you can find me there. My cell phone, it's always available. I've been having that cell phone for like 15 years. I will not change it, even though sometimes my husband's like, who's calling you at 10 o'clock at night? I'll be like, it doesn't matter, it's money, I gotta answer.
Yeah, and
So-
listen, she's like I said, when it comes to title, Erika and Stuart are bar none
Yes.
leaders in the industry. But if you wanna, if you're sitting there now thinking, how do I take my career to the next level? What can I do? I started saying, I'm gonna go back. I started saying, God, now 6 days ago, that to me, 2020 started on May 1st. I'm gonna forget the first months of the year, and to me, the first January 1st didn't count. May 1st to me is the first day of the year for 2020. For those Canvas agents, I still have my commitment to myself and to everybody, which is Project 20 in 2020. So we got 8 months left in the year to make that commitment come through. Now more than ever, you got to make that commitment come through and dedicate yourself to your craft.
Yeah.
And then that's why Erika is somebody that you can have a conversation regarding building a building business, from listings, from buyers, from marketing. So it's not just, title, she does it well, better than well. And the backup behind her store title, it's
Amazing
a monster of a company. But she's not there to be just the title rep. She's there to help you with market. She's there to help you getting a business plans in order. And I listen to her talk a lot. So she holds a lot of people also accountable. So if you need somebody to help you with accountability, I know that she does that already. So don't look at her just as a title person. This is someone that literally works on all angles of our industry. So I'm gonna go ahead and
Thank
share my
you.
screen.
And can I say something,
Yeah,
Ernesto,
please,
real quick? Talking about accountability. I know there's a couple of people listening, and I love, Manulani, and I love everybody in the team, Dex. I mean, so many people, Doris. And you know what? I think you have to put the team together, because we have to mastermind with each other. And not only, the team that you really work with, because right now, like you said, May 1st started the year. For me, I think I cannot shift everything by April 1st. April 1st, I'm like, I'm going to call everybody I know. I'm going to start doing happy hours. I think I started March, I started doing Friday happy hours, because you have to be consistent. And that's the key. Learn as much as you can this time, because this moment, May, June, and July, is the time that you need to focus on your business, work it really well. And I guarantee you, those 20 that you said, 20, right? I'm sure you probably had 3 before the when the year started. So now you can finish strong, and that's the key. Start building your fruit of the labor now. So by the time July 1st comes, you can see the fireworks, because people are working and they are actually buying. So just wanted to throw that in there.
Yeah, so the next thing I'm working on, and I'll probably loop you into that one, is, so I have reached out to agents within our company that they have done 3 sales during this stay-at-home order. And after talking, I was talking to one of them was here yesterday. You guys were closing the file, And speaking to them yesterday, what I wanted to hear from them is there's a lot of challenge, emotional challenging closing transactions right now. So I wanted to understand from them, how did they manage those emotions? And it was a great, it was a great conversation. And I want to bring them in just for that. Give me 1 second. I got to switch something on.
But guys, that's amazing. That tool is great, Ernesto. That's fantastic.
So then today's presentation is the 7 habits of highly effective people. Like I said, this is not my idea. This is someone above my pay grade that came up with this concept or this research. But they found that there was seven traits that every highly effective performing business person was using as a sort of a guideline or a career path to keep you on track daily, weekly, monthly, and yearly. And after talking to all these very successful people, they found there was this little 7 things that kept popping up that all of them were doing. So when they saw that all of them were doing that, the book was written because of that. So the name of the book is 7 Habits of Effective People. It's available everywhere. I have it on Audible. I'm not much of a reader. I like to listen. So, but Erika says there's even flashcards that you can, so to make it a little more friendly to use. So let's get into it. So like I said, this presentation is presented to you by Stuart Title and Erika Enid. If you have any title question, marketing question, if you need an accountability coach, that's the person that you want to talk to. And by us, Canvas Real Estate. Nice to meet you for everybody watching. So let's get right into it. The number 1 habit that they found out of everybody, and especially right now, and if you hear Erika said it, she said it, I started in May, you heard she started in April, is you got to be proactive.
Yeah.
You got to be, everybody out there that is being successful right now is being proactive. And proactive is about taking responsibility for your life, right? For your life, especially now more than ever. Recognize that you cannot blame your circumstances or your conditions. That is up to you every day and every morning to make an effort to get to the next level. I keep saying over and over and over, real estate agents that feel that they're unemployed is because they're choosing that morning to be unemployed. You were determined to be an essential service by the state of Florida.
Yes.
So you should still be in a safely manner, with your mask and your gloves. You're allowed to still work. I was just reading an article that someone posted about a hair salon that was shut down because they opened without permission to open. Yeah, you don't have that issue. You are allowed to be proactive and to work. So number 1 is be proactive. I'll let Erika give you her take, and then I'll give you my real estate take on what being proactive means to me, a real estate person.
Yes. So being proactive, to me, it starts with the moment that you wake up. Okay, you have to know what is it that your day looks like, so you don't have to waste time in your day. Being proactive, I don't know about you, but this baby right here, for me, is worth more than $1 million. Okay, being proactive is you have no leads, pick up your phone and call everybody that you know. And I know people that are listening right now, they're picking up the phone, they're being proactive. And when I call them, they're like, Erika, I can't talk right now. I'm making calls. That's being proactive, guys. No matter where you're at, you need to start thinking with your mindset of what it is that you're going to start doing. I guarantee you, if you start doing it now, you're going to be proactive.
So take that and spin it into real estate. To be a real estate agent, it means you're not in a passive industry. You're not in a holding industry. You're not at the mercy of the market. The market changes, supply goes up, supply goes down, demand goes up, demand goes down. An effective agent is a proactive agent, an agent that is acting before things happen. Let's take it down into leads. Erika just mentioned leads. A lead that is not acted on is dead. It dies. You get a certain amount of time and period to reach out to those leads. So when we talk about an agent to be being proactive, you have to sort of not be at the mercy of what's going on around you. right now, we cannot change the environment that we're in right now. We got to go through this period, and it is what it is. But there's still business being done. There are still sellers that are with concerns on their heart because they might have lost their job. Unemployment numbers came out today, and as we knew, unemployment was going to uptick more and more and more. But there's a lot of those sellers that you can, even if they're not your past clients, if there's an expire or a cancel, you can pick up the phone and have a conversation and educate that consumer and build that relationship. Like I said, Erika has built her career on educating and assisting people. The business just follows right after that. But being proactive means not waiting for things to happen. You know, it's not to, and it's a great book, it's a great philosophy. The what's it called? The Secret. The Secret is great, but The Secret says that you have to work.
Yeah.
You know, things are not going to manifest by themselves. You got to work for things to come out to you. So when it comes to what is proactive out of an agent, it's having a plan in place and getting up every morning determined that I gotta do my job, whatever your job is that day, and make it happen. Number 2 is begin with an end in mind. You know, beginning with an end in mind means that you begin each day with a task or a project that you want to get accomplished, something you want to get done that day. This is a shameless plug to you. I have these on my desk. I'll zoom it in. And these are my key things that I gotta get done. So when I get up in the morning, I look at my calendar. When I get to the office, I jot down the things that I gotta get done. If you need one of these, I know someone that can get one for you. But I begin every day with an end in mind, with a task that I want to get accomplished. People that I need to talk to, people that I gotta reach out to, and work that I gotta get done. That doesn't mean that reality does not come in and things get thrown my way. But I always get back to my little notepad of things that I gotta get accomplished that day, no matter what, and make sure that I don't get distracted enough and lose focus on what is it that I gotta get done. So, Erika, up to you now.
Yes.
What does beginning with an end in mind mean to you?
It's pretty much what you said. You have to write it down. Divide it into what's important at the moment. So if you know that you need to make 3 calls to 3 clients that are important, or even if they're complaining on something, whatever it is, you have to do what's more important first. Then you work your ladder. So if you have to do something with your family or your kids, those are priorities. But if you don't write it down, you cannot accomplish it. And that's the key for everything. I am extremely old-fashioned. I love technology, but people laugh at me because I have my calendar, I have my to-do list, because if I don't see it in writing, it won't happen. It will not happen. So that's why you need to, and this actually works with Anthony Robbins, with any major big producing human being in the world. They have to write it down, because if you don't write it down, you know, you're not going to finish the task, pretty much. So that to me is what I begin, and I end up my day trying to finish all my tasks for that day.
I want to thank everybody that I see is watching us live on Facebook. If you could do me and Erika a favor and hit that little share button and share this message so it can be seen by as many people, we can touch and assist as many people as possible. So if you're watching us, if you could kindly enough just hit share on that button and share it. And all the questions that are being posted, we're gonna answer them in the back. To go back to begin with an end in mind, I'm gonna take a simple real estate transaction as a process. From the minute you write that offer, you got 30, 40, 60 days to get to the closing table. So you have an end in mind of what is your goal with that transaction. Now, there are things that are going to happen in that transaction that you got to be proactive, and you need to know what's going to take place. You got to have an inspection done in a certain amount of time. You need to book it in a certain amount of time to make sure you have it, especially now that can happen at that time. You need to have the file submitted to title. You need to make sure that you get your paperwork back, lien search, title lien, the lien title, everything. So if there's a hiccup, it could be worked out, and Erika can help you with that. You got 30 days for the loan. I'm going to do a shameless plug for Doris. right now. So if you work it, if you submitted your file for a loan, you got 30 days or 45 days for that loan to be approved. So you got to make sure that prior to the expiration of your loan commitment period, you research all of that. You have the closing day coming up, and it's very exciting. But somebody's holding escrow. That escrow's got to get sent over to the title company. You got to be proactive to that. You got to make sure that the CD goes out in time and everybody reviews it. So look at a transaction as a simple way to determine how to help you get organized on a daily basis. You use a real estate transaction that is you beginning that transaction with an end in mind, and at the end in mind is, guys, that's when we get paid. That's the only time that we get paid. So you gotta work it that way.
Yes. You guys don't get paid until the end, guys. Just make sure we definitely close and says funding. Then you get paid.
Put first things first. So that goes back to making notes, right?
Yep.
You gotta be proactive. You gotta have an end in mind, right? But you need to organize yourself. Erika just touched on family life, and this is an industry that she mentioned. We all get pulled at different times of the day because situations come up. But you need to learn to put things in order and give priority to certain things. It's your personal life and your business. So you gotta have a scale of what is must do, what is maybe, and then what I can get to now. And organization, if you notice, the big thing about everything we have talked about already, organization is key on these 7 habits. So what was seen from all these individuals, and if you read the book, you'll see there's different levels of education, different level of upbringing. It's not just college graduated people that the study was based. It was everybody can follow these simple steps, which is 7, nothing, and be productive. So Erika, with everything that you juggle, right, between as many people that you talk to, how do you prioritize what is first in your list and what is last in your list?
Okay, so what's first in my list, as soon as I wake up, I meditate. I take at least 15 minutes of my day every single morning to meditate, to be grateful for everything that we have. That is my habit number 1, to meditate at least 15 minutes. Then I go either for right now for a walk. I can do biking. I can do my gym time. But that's number 1. That's what I do, and then I start my day. So you have to start pretty much having your workflow and what you do daily written down. A friend of mine, always says that to me. You have to write it down. As soon as you start writing it down, and you start from the moment you wake up, from the end of your day, you start doing it 1 week. By the 2nd week, automatically, that's going to become your habit. If you start doing it daily, that is very important. That's how you start your habit. Yes, there's going to be moments that we might lose, we might lose time here and there, but people always ask me, Erika, how could you be everywhere? Like, I'm at a NAREP event, I'm at a Miami Association of Realtors event, I'm in a networking, happy hour, and a closing from Miami to Broward. How do you do it? Why? Because I have my habits and I have my list of what I need to do daily. That's how you start, and that's how you become your expert on whatever you're doing, but automatically it's going to become that habit. That's what I do, and that's what works for me. But that is amazing because I love that part where it talks about habits. Right now, guys, if you're not working on your habits, on changing some things that you didn't like to do before, like cold calling, that's number 1 that we all need to do. If you're not doing it right now, I'm sorry to tell you, that's not going to become a habit. But if you're doing it right now, and I know a lot of you who are listening right now, that's becoming your habit. If you start doing it now, boom, that's it. That's going to be your habit for the rest of the year, which those habits are going to become your productivity pretty much.
So for those watching us, we had a conversation, believe it or not, Erika, that next Friday, it makes 30 days that we did one of these. And we spoke about habits, and we spoke about you being a firewalker. and how over the next 30 days, either you're going to build really good habits as a human being, forget your profession, or you're going to build really bad habits. So guys, we have a week left and a month has gone by. Those crucial 30 days have gone by. I hope truly that you took that opportunity to build good habits as family and as business. If you didn't, it doesn't matter. Life gives you a new opportunity every morning when you wake up. If you notice, Erika follows my script of taking her meds daily. And when I say meds, it's not medication. It's meditation or prayer in the morning, exercise, which is critical, diet. You gotta have a good diet. No Reuben, no croquetas, and you gotta sleep. You gotta rest. You gotta let your body, rebuild. To me, when as a realtor, now I'm gonna take myself a broker out of the equation. As a salesperson, what does put first things first is it begins with great communications. When you're working with clients, you need to set the expectation, have the communications in place, so they understand timing and they understand the process. So there's no surprises. That's once you're in the middle of a file. You need to, and Erika just said it, you need to prospect. You need to set a time of the day to be productive on your phone. There's just no if, buts, or maybe about it. There's nobody out there that's a top producer that is not heavy into prospecting by the phone. There's no other way around it. In my opinion, when the day starts, you have a lot more energy. You have a lot more of the wind in your sail. So in the morning, to be the first thing you should get out of the way is do that. Get on the phone. I tell people alternate your prospecting calls between warm calling and sphere of influence. That way, every other call is a very pleasant call. So I truly recommend what she said. You need to be on the phone as much as possible. And when you're on the phone, you need to be a listener. You need to hear what people are telling you, especially now more than ever. And you're able to, when you talk to clients, you're able to gather what is it that you can help them with. And I think is Zig Ziglar, the more people you help, the more money you make.
Yes.
You are in this business, to help people. And, you gotta put the relationship with that client before the commission. The commission will always come back to you. Maybe this is not the deal to do, but maybe there's a better referral coming down the pipeline. But you gotta put, like I said, put first things first. I'm gonna move it to point number 4. Think win-win. Okay. This one took me a lot. I had to read it a bunch of times when I first read this book, because to me, I am not a win-win methodology person. I think that you're gonna win at the end, but in the road, you're gonna have some losses. So I don't go into every relationship or transaction with a win-win mentality. It has to be a win-win for me to continue. And if you watched me yesterday, we spoke about commissions and discounting commissions and all of that good stuff. And if you didn't, you just go down in my timeline and you'll see it. So to be a win-win relationship to me, it has to be that. It has to be a win-win. But some of them are not going to be win-win relationships. So I choose to step aside. So that one. One of those was one of the hardest things for me to comprehend. Erika, how did you interpret the win-win, and are you a win-win, sort of driven person?
Yes. So I had to learn this the hard way because I'm extremely nice. I'm a super nice person, right? So a couple of years I had to really I went back to Anthony Robbins, and I really needed to evaluate myself, because sometimes you cannot just say yes, yes, yes to win that deal. Sometimes you have to learn how to say no in a nice way. So for example, I've been in the business for 20 years and I've never in my life, and God is my witness, have never paid for anything, like given any kickbacks. And I know that's a different subject, but I'm by the book. Why am I by the book? Because that's how I am. That's my personality. And not only that, I protect my license, which is I'm a licensed title agent. I'm not just a closer, I'm a licensed title agent, which is a very hard license to get. And why do I say this? Because sometimes I need to learn how to say no. If a customer comes to me and says, "Oh, Erika, look, can I do this, to get that win or to get that client?" I'm simply going to say, "You know what? Unfortunately, I cannot do that. I can help you with marketing. I can help you with coaching. I can help you with this." So I needed to learn how to say no, and I needed to learn how to leave my fears behind and being confident. I know that he says about being confident, which is true, guys. Even if you're a new realtor and you're talking to your customer and you don't know how to speak to them, and you're not a new realtor, you have your broker right here with more than 20 years of experience that you can call in. You have your title company that's been here for 20 something years. You have your lender. So you have a team. You have plenty years of experience. You're not new. So when you talk with confidence, that's your win-win situation. And when they're telling you that you need to get a listing for 2%, I'm sorry, that's when you need to reevaluate and say no. So that to me is when you have to be confident when you speak to your customer. Don't let them, think or bully you or anything. No, be confident. And it takes time. Trust me, it takes time. It takes a lot of reading to do. It takes a lot of, work to work on yourself. But I think definitely to me, think win-win is being confident in yourself, and let go and say no when you need to say no.
So a couple of notes that I jot down about win-win. I sort of spin that into that listing that someone is listening to me have. Some properties have pluses. Every property has a plus and minus and cons, and sometimes are more negative than positive, right? So as in a win-win scenario, when you're marketing that property, it's you gotta present the positive, but you really gotta present the positive and attract them in a positive light. But at the same time, you cannot hide the negatives. You gotta present the negatives and present them with a spin. If it's a small lot, say, listen, less lawn to take care of. You got a park down the street. You can literally walk to the park. So you gotta have a toolkit of pros and cons when it comes to win-win, and you gotta always remember that in a relationship, a win-win relationship, a minor tiny change can change the whole trajectory of that relationship or that transaction. A over excited client, which you may have right now in front of you, it might be better to say, listen, why don't we pause on this tonight? We still got time. Let's rehash it tomorrow. Let's both sleep on it. Let's talk about it again in the morning. But if you're in a moment, in a heated discussion, it's always better to step away and try to find another solution. The reason you're in this profession is because you're good with people skills. And what we bring you together is a couple of more tools to carry in your tool bag. Number 5, seek first to be understood, to understand, fix it to understand, and then to be understood. So that one, it's my interpretation of it before I get into the real estate breakdown is people more now than ever, and we're not, are listening to you, but they're not. They're just waiting for you to stop talking to give you their idea. You see that more and more. Everybody wants to get their point across. To be in real estate, you got to be a good negotiator. And a good negotiator is not someone that beats up the other person to get what they want. We go back to point number 4. In a transaction, it has to be a win-win for both sides. Everybody has to find a middle ground where everybody is happy. Even if there's a dispute, there has to be a middle ground for everybody to be happy. So this one is one of those also that I work on. I try to actually understand first before I can speak and someone can understand me and my point across. I know you go through a lot of, not every title file is a simple one. And sometimes you're stuck in the middle between buyer and seller, and you gotta play Judge Judy in the middle. So how do you get your point across while listening to the other side?
You know, and this is something that I've talked to everywhere that I've worked before in title. I tell my processors and my closers all the time, whenever you have someone who's complaining, who is not understanding something, have them give me a call or give me their phone number and I will talk to them. Even if we're like, if they just want to vent and they're upset because they can't close on time, you know, all those calls, I want to take those calls. I want to take that challenge because at the end of the day, what they want to do is vent. That's it. That's all they want to do. They want to vent and they want to talk. So what do? I get the phone. I listen to them, even if it's for 15 minutes. I hear them complaining about how the realtor is not calling them, how the realtor is not doing a good job, how their lender sucks. They just want to complain about everything, right? So I just, in the phone, 10, 15, 20 minutes, let them talk. And at the end, I say, I took notes. I'm going to talk to everybody in the transaction, and I guarantee you we'll be able to close. Guys, when they're ready to close, that's it. They're super happy. They love everybody because that's the key. They just want to vent, talk to everybody, and they just want to listen. And I'm sorry, this is the time that all your customers, everybody's at home, and they're waiting for the phone to ring and say, hey, how are you? It's not about selling, because selling is going to come. But this is the time. So to me, that is the key. You need to listen first before they talk, before you talk. I don't know if you understand me, but.
I got you. Give me 1 second. So one takeaway for me that seek first to understand what the other party is saying, so then you can be understood in what you're presenting. There's an old saying, goes back to, I guess, to the first caveman that sold something to another caveman, is the customer is always right. With us, I don't want to be arrogant. I don't want to, come out, but to me, the customer is not always right. The customer can have an opinion and we can differ in opinion. It's my job as a professional to understand that client's situation, like Erika mentioned, and present the scenarios that may fit what that client requires. It's not that you compromise, and Erika just touched on that a minute ago. It's not that you compromise your values or that you compromise your business practice or change your business plan just to earn that business. I understand what someone may be presenting to me, but I want them to understand my point, understand my view. So yes, the customer, it's not that the customer is not always right. We need to, as professionals, because remember, we are professionals, we need to educate the customer in process. For example, something that, as a broker that I have gotten more than 10 calls on in the past 30 days is we're under contract on a property and the buyer wants to go back in to measure for furniture, for measure for window treatments. The contract says secure clearly. You can see the property at inspection. You can see the property at walkthrough, and that's it. That is in black and white in the contract. And I have had more than one conversation with a customer of one of our agents, threatening anything and everything on the planet. And I listen to understand their concern, right? But then I present, my point, which is black and white, is in the contract, what it is. So it's one of those samples where the consumer may think they're right because they are the consumer and they've been trained to that, but it's not always right. And you touched on it a minute ago. You cannot compromise who you are just for one transaction. Anything you want to add to that one?
No, I mean, what you said right now with everything that's going on, I think virtually is the way to go. You know, if they want to see their house or something like that, can they just can maybe that seller can do a video virtually or connect with the borrower virtually so they can see it? That's a question for you. Yeah,
No, I couldn't hear you. What was that?
I'm asking if the customer wanted to see the property. Can they do it virtually or something like that?
So every case we had on this one, they just wanted to go back in and get a feel for things again and remeasure and get their furniture. And I listened to the desire, because that was a desire.
Absolutely.
Express the situation with the current environment that we're in, that some people just don't feel comfortable having, people coming in and out, and explain that. It came across, and then at the end, when I couldn't get them to understand my point of view, we went back to what's legally signed by both parties in black and white. The next time you're gonna walk the property is the day of the walkthrough, and that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're all gonna have difficult situations. We had a closing not long ago. The gentleman, he works for FedEx, and obviously with everything that's going on, my closer's asthmatic. Even if we didn't have that many people here in the conference room, I need to protect her because she's heavily asthmatic. And he refused. He was so upset because I didn't let him into the conference room and all of that. And I'm like, I apologize, but I'm also being here. I did a drive-through closing, and at the end, obviously he wasn't mad anymore because I gave him a bottle of wine. But the thing is that we have to respect right now each other, and this is uncharted waters. We don't know what we're walking into right now, right? We have to do whatever we can to make it happen, to close the transactions, to make the deal happen, but we also need to protect each other. So, if that's why right now we're screening everybody. So we're asking them, who do you work for? Have you traveled, et cetera, because we need to know. And that's important for you guys. This is moving forward. Not only now, this is something that we need to protect each other. I know nosotros los Latinos, we're always into the kissing, which eventually is going to come back, but with precautions.
Yeah, no, I have said it in the past couple of conversations I had, that if, for those that remember, prior to September 11, we had a lot of other freedoms. For example, you can walk into any municipal building, any courthouse, any governmental building, and you just walked in like if it was nothing. It was after September 11 that security measures were installed, where metal detectors and screening to enter the courthouse, airport security. So there will be some measurements in place for the time being. This is a little bit different than any of those situations and environments. I think we as humans are very resilient, and we will blink, and next summer this will be will begin to look like a distant memory. The next one to me is what Erika opened with, and it's this one says 2 heads are better than 1. To me, 4 is even better than 2. Synergy is what she mentioned. Synergy, especially in our industry, it doesn't matter if you're licensed yesterday or you've been in the business for 20 years. You need to have a good synergy with the team that you work with, and try to maintain that same team for everything that you do, because it becomes a very tight sort of environment, and it sort of makes your job a little easier. I know you're big in your team, so how do you keep the synergy going within your team?
I mean, it's just, you have to care. You have to care for others. If you don't care, or you don't show that you care, it's not going to happen, guys. And when I'm saying care is helping anybody, your team, your coworkers, whenever you're showing a property, that other agent, everybody's going through different things in life. And this is not only now with the pandemic. We don't know what the other person is going through, health-wise, divorce, God knows, but we're all human beings. So that's when we have to care for each other from the beginning. Sometimes we misjudge people and we assume things. Stop assuming. I think that's something that's very important. We cannot assume what the other person is going through, right? We just need to care for each other. Synergy is the way you act, the way you talk. You have to have that synergy, guys. You have to be energetic within yourself. And I love that last phrase. Together, they can produce far better results than they could individually. That's what a team does. Teamwork. You need to have your team. You need to have your partners in place. I have plenty of partners that I can go to, okay? And that is the key. In order for you to succeed, you need to have your team in place. You're not alone. Don't think you're alone, because you're not alone. We're not alone. We are all in this together. There's a huge hashtag right now going on saying alone together. What, right? Because we're alone, but we're together. We're social distancing, but we're not actually social distancing. We're physical distancing. Right now, I'm socializing with you guys. This is socially. Physical distancing is what we're not doing. So don't think you're alone. You're not alone. We're all in this together. And if you don't have a team, I'll be more than happy to become part of your team. Just give me a call, and I'm sure Ernesto can be your mentor. So you have a great team here. Together is the only way that we're going to win now and moving forward in the future.
Thank you. Thank you. That's a beautiful word. So for anybody listening right now about synergy and how I see synergy, now more than ever, buyer consultations and seller consultations, it's something that you should be doing and not doing alone. Buyer consultations, seller consultations, it's something that you should be doing with your title person and your mortgage person. And even bring in your inspection person that you use, your core team. And a buyer's consultation, one thing that I hear a lot is, oh, they're already working with somebody. They're already working with somebody. Listen, there's 70,000+ licensees in South Florida, right? So everybody knows somebody that has a real estate license. But having a license does not make you the professional that you are. A buyer's consultation, a Zoom buyer's consultation will truly set you apart from what everybody out there is doing. Any lead that comes your way from, we have a lot of agents doing virtual open houses. And actually a deal that's going your way is someone that met someone from an open house 6 months ago that they had kept in touch with. But a virtual presentation could be as simple as, hey, I understand that you're looking for a home. I know that you have put your search in a pause right now, but why don't we do a quick buyer's consultation? Let me bring in my title rep so they can explain to you the process and you can understand your protection when it comes to title insurance. Let me bring in, I know that you might know a lender. Let me bring in the lender that I work with so they can explain the process. Plus, this is the same lender that works with my title rep, so you can understand how the communication works between the two, because they got to work like this to make sure that we have an effective process. And I'm going to bring in also our inspector to explain to you what is it that it's going to be covered on that inspection. Let me show you the value of what working with me brings to a buyer like you. If you use that little speech with any lead that comes your way, it's going to set you apart from 90% of everybody else that is in this industry. And I'm not telling you to spend hours. That is probably what, Erika, 10, 15 minutes Zoom meeting conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
That will set you apart, and that will really help you build that connection between that buyer and you. And with sellers also, exactly the same.
Yeah, and what I wanted to add is that right now they're home. And if you're talking to a customer or a seller, we can do exactly what Ernesto and I are doing. We can do it with your customer. And if you don't know how to use Zoom, just let us know, either him, myself, and we can just do a power presentation with your customers and show them, share the screen, and we can do this with them virtually. This is the new way right now. And I'm sorry to tell you guys, I'm very happy that we're learning a lot. and that we are actually learning how to do these consultations. Because how much time you guys waste driving people around and showing them 15 houses. Right now, you can show them the top 3. This is the top 3 that you really, really want, and screen them and do virtual tours for them. Okay, so I know that it's a difficult time and people are scared, but if you as an agent can go in without your customers and do a visual tour, that's another add-on that you can do. And consultations, there's free consultations and PowerPoint presentations. And if you don't know how to do it, I can help you. Super easy, super simple to do a power presentation, your information, your lenders, and the title company, and boom, you're the expert.
And that's what Synergy is all about. It's about bringing in a team of professionals who's going to work with you, work together, so you can produce better results together. So the last one to me, I've been hearing this my whole life. There's an analogy about sharpening your saw. That two lumberjacks get hired to cut down X amount of trees. And they're each given an axe, and they're giving a polished stone for the axe. And they're like, well, whoever cuts the most trees by noon gets the job. So the first guy gets that axe and starts whacking and whacking and whacking and whacking and whacking and whacking and whacking, and he's there going at 1,000%. The second guy gets his polishing stone and starts sharpening his axe. Gets it nice and sharp, and then while it's taking the other guy's 40 whacks to cut down a tree, he's doing it with 10. So who finished by noon with most trees? The person that sharpened the axe. What we're trying to show you, and what all of these webinars that are taking place all the time, are they all trying to show you that your mind is your saw. You know, we said it 30 days ago, we're saying it now, and we keep repeating it. You need to prepare and sharpen your mind so you can be the professional that you need to be. More than ever, earning from real estate is going to be a path to an income, you know, because of the uncertain situations that we're in. There's more and more, there are families that are going to need your help when selling their home. And more there are people that are going to want to move. And you know, this is something that Carlos said. You know, there's some people that have been living rented, and they've been sitting 4 people in an 800 square foot apartment rental in downtown Fort Lauderdale. That family's at each other's throat. They're gonna go ahead and want to get a house with a yard and a pool, because it's you know, you have realized I have my priorities in a different order, you know, and like you mentioned, a lot of people are working from home. So you gotta take the time daily to sharpen your saw, to sharpen your mind. I'm one of those that every morning when I get up, I have 3 or 4 different podcasts that I listen to, or people that I consider to be industry leaders, you know, that are putting out content even before this happened. They were putting out daily content, and they all have different opinions on the market, different opinions in our industry. But you know, it's always good to sharpen your mind, right, Erika?
Yes, every single day, guys. I mean, you know, physical, social, emotionally, mental, and spiritual. For me, spiritual is number 1, physical number 2, mental 3, then emotionally and socially. Those are the keys for me. Sharpen your saw every single day. You need to be learning something new. And this is not only about real estate, guys. This is in general about your well-being. Everything starts with you. You can blame your broker. You can blame your title company. You can blame your lender. You can blame your husband or your kids. I'm sorry. You have to own it. You have to own whatever decisions you do in life. You have to own that. And it took me 3 years. And why do I say 3 years? Because I went to a deep rut in 2016. I needed to find out what it is that I wanted. I felt lost. I felt disconnected with everybody, disconnected with the one above me. And I needed to connect and reconnect myself. That is what Sharpen the Saw did for me. You need to start within yourself to realize what it is that you want to do, because nobody's going to accomplish it. Nobody's going to be able to do it by yourself. But if you start sharpening your saw, like Ernesto said, listening to podcasts. I listen to podcasts too. Sometimes in the way to drive, I'm listening to a podcast. Podcast on real estate, podcast on health and mindset. I started doing a new diet. Why? Because whatever we put in your mouth this time, we cannot have clear mentality. So that's very, very important, guys. Everything that we put in also affects our health. So we need to make sure that we're taking care of our body and that we're loving our body and ourselves. It's something very important. You're home. I know you're craving a lot of junk food, chocolates and all of this. But remember, the way you start thinking and the way you're feeling is about whatever you intake, which is also very important. So sharpening the saw, it's something that we need to do daily, every day, and to me, that is the number one. I even had a reminder every morning that says, sharpen your saw, sharpen your saw.
I mean, you gotta work on yourself physically, and I'm not saying physically for you to you look good. I mean, if you look good as a byproduct, fantastic. But people that exercise more than 30 minutes daily, it's very hard for your mind to go to a dark place during the day because those endorphins are running in. So that helps you with your emotional and mental stability. You need to be spiritual, whatever your faith is. You need to find that connection with something higher. And if you're an agnostic, then find something that moves you and motivates you. And you just said something that is the last thing I'm going to say about this. We all go through a dark moment in our lives. And I have a quote that I wrote down a while back that I don't know who it's from. It says, and it ties back to Nestor's comments yesterday, that you gotta live out your imagination. That is what you're here to do. Your history is your history. You're not here to live out your history and repeat your history. Your history is behind you to learn from, but your imagination is going to get you to where you want to be, where you need to go. Because unfortunately, our reality has temporarily changed for the next month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months. I don't know. I'm not a epidemiologist, but I tell you that the world is still functioning. Real estate is still getting done. And now more than ever, you might be the breadwinner for the entire family. More than ever, it's in your shoulders to be the breadwinner for your entire family. So you got to take on that responsibility, build a team, build synergy, take this simple 7 steps. I'm gonna email that to all my Canvas agents. I'll send it to you, Erika, in case you want to share with anybody else. It's simple, and if you have the time, get the book and read the book. If I have to boil all of this 7 habits to 2 things, it's very simple. Do something. You gotta stop sitting around. Erika's been telling you all this open thing. You gotta do something. And I know you watch us on social media, and social media is great, but social media, you have to use it as right now as a tool and a connectivity. That doesn't mean that you're gonna spend 3 hours on Instagram or Facebook, just scrolling down. This is a tool that you can use to communicate now more than ever. To communicate, but it's not. You gotta put it away as a distraction. And you need to take action. You need to take massive action. There's people that are around you right now that can help you do that. You need to take massive action. So out of those 7 things, all Ernesto took away is, I gotta get up every morning and do something, and I gotta take action. That was my takeaway from the book. When I listened to it, I didn't read it. I listened to it, I think, already twice.
I mean, everybody that I've talked to or that I listened to motivational wise, they always said the same thing. Take action. Take action. Even if you look at Anthony Robbins on YouTube's, take action, guys. This is the time. This is the time that we need to take actions. I don't know about you, but I've been working more than ever. I've been working more than ever now. Even on Saturdays, I came up last week and did a webinar for an hour on Saturday. And guess what? We got a contract. We got a borrower. So you know what? You have to do whatever it takes right now. Like Ernesto said,
you're the breadwinner.
You are the breadwinner. And you know what? People right now that lost their jobs, they had a big house and a big payment. Guess what's going to happen? They want to sell that house and they want to buy a condo. The people that are having a condo and have a job right now, what do they want to do? Sell their condo and get a house that has a pool. So use it. Use this time to do whatever it takes.
So that was my homework presentation. I'm going to look at questions because I know that I see questions right now. So they're asking me, it's very challenging to show property right now. So the question that one of the questions asking, can you force a tenant to show a property in a property that is currently occupied? So if on the lease, when that lease was written, there was no clause for access, no, you cannot force a tenant on an executed lease to give you access to a property. The landlord with notice can get access to the property. The landlord doesn't mean that the landlord is going to show up with a bunch of people, but no, leases don't have a provision for access. That was one of the questions. A lot of people saying hi, hello. Joaquin shared where to buy the book. Thank you, Joaquin. Joaquin is also a big fan of it. Let me see if there's any other questions right there. Negotiating skills. So negotiating skills, there might be another presentation you might bring in. Like I said, the win-win scenario from what we spoke about, it's a main thing about negotiating skills. Negotiating it's finding the middle ground. You gotta find a middle ground. And in some transactions, they might not happen. You might not be able to get a middle ground. It's just, unfortunately, it is what it is. But our job and what we get compensated for, it's for that. And I think now more than ever, educating the consumer is what's going to help you. What's going to help you to get to that middle ground. Educating that consumer, either being a buyer or being a seller. And I believe that there's a lot of content out there. We have put a lot of content. Erika has put a lot of content. I did a whole presentation regarding the state of our market. The association just put out some numbers. I'm going to wait for this month to end, and I'm going to do one more at the end of the month to talk about that, to talk about the state of the health of the market. I can tell you that today the numbers came out for buyers' applications for mortgages, and it picked up 7% again. You're going to tell me, yeah, Ernesto, but they're down 18% from last year. Yes, and half the country has been locked at home for 45 days. So to only be down 18% new applicants, no refi, new applicants, to only be down 18% from last year is showing you that the consumer is taking action in a different way, but it's taking action. So it's up to you to educate yourself, to reach out to that consumer. If I come across a buyer, the first thing I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to get this face-to-face. Once I get that face-to-face, my objective is to try to get a second face-to-face. And it could go as simple as this. Hey, can we do something? Can we schedule a meeting with my title rep? Because one of the expenses you're going to have at closing is a title policy. And I want you to understand what that policy does for you. And I want her to explain to you the research that they do on that property prior to you taking possession, so you can have peace of mind. Can you be available for a 5-minute Zoom meeting, and I'm going to link up with my title rep and get you on the phone? You're adding a tremendous value just by having that simple conversation with that consumer that you're working with. So it's a win-win, yes, but education is what gets, sharpening that saw is what gets us to that win-win. Erika, anything you want to add in closing, please?
Yes, I just want to add, please, guys, sharpen your saw. Listen, we're going to have a beautiful market. Right now, Ernesto said it best. by July, we're going to see fireworks, right? Remember, after every hurricane or every storm, at the end of the day, we always see a rainbow coming up. I know there's a lot of families that are suffering right now, but this is the time where you need to pick up the phone and be there for your customers. Be there for them. Show that you care, and I guarantee you by the third quarter, you're going to be succeeding like anybody else. Be in social media, only posting good information. I can help you with that, but try to detach the social media, if it's not work wise. That's all I can tell you guys. Continue sharpening your saw. Be positive that at the end of the day, we're going to come out and we're going to see the rainbow.
I want to thank everybody, the 100+ people that are watching right now. Thank you for tuning in. I truly appreciate your support.
Thank you.
Remember, whenever we do one of these things, please share so we can get as many the good information, real information. If you notice, me and Erika are not promising you rainbows and butterflies. We're telling you this is what you need to do to be proactive. Like Nestor said yesterday on the guy that is a triathlon runner. When it comes to bike, put your head down and just push through. This is the moment to put your head down and just push through. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Erika, pleasure to see you.
Thank you. Yes.
I'll be back on Friday. I'm going to be doing a quick one on technology on Friday. So I look forward to see you on Friday. Have a great rest of your week. Stay safe and productive.
Stay safe. Yes. Bye. Have a good day.